दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Express, Suryavanshi Station, Netaji Bhavan.
Hello and welcome to Voltas presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm at the edge of my chair, literally, because welcoming all the way from South Africa. प्यार करने वाले प्यार करते हैं Shaun से. Hello, Mr. Shaun Pollock.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Good to have you here.
Wonderful to be back.
On behalf of myself, kind regards, Gaurav Kapur, Mr. Big Brother, Mr. Harsha Bhogle.
Comes from proper Indian city of Durban.
That's right, from
Correct.
Durban, where everyone wear turban. And from our entire loving crew of Cricbuzz, our producers, directors, head of finance, logistics,
Feeling very welcome. Thank you.
and our audience, our loving audience, which is saying welcome to Shaun Pollock, who is here all the way from South Africa. And thank you so much for being here. We've been looking forward to having you here specifically because I have questions about reverse swing, but I'll get to them in just a bit. Just prepping you.
Gotcha.
Just prepping you. Mr. Bhogle is back in the studio as well. Presume you haven't been getting into any trouble in the last couple of days. You've been all right? Yeah? That's right. You keeping your head above the water, your nose clean?
He's so scared he's not saying anything.
That's true. Good. It's best. It's best. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. That's right. Sometimes we read the Miranda rights as well on this show with mathematics, chemistry, physics, everything. All right, we'll tell you who's playing today because there's a little bit of chemistry problem happening there. Bangalore just doesn't seem to have any chemistry with their home ground because they just keep losing there. Can they turn it around today? Because they're welcoming the Rajasthan team. If they really wanted to play anyone here, it would perhaps be Rajasthan because they're coming off the back of two kind of morale-crushing losses, I'd like to say.
Yeah, Shame, you do feel for them. I mean, you look at the way they're situated on the table and you've got to say to yourself, if those two close encounters had gone their way, they'll be feeling top of the world. You know, they have those extra points. They won't
They would
get
have been on 8. Yeah.
They'll be sitting on 8 points after 8 games, feeling a lot better about what they've done. And now all of a sudden they're not. I suppose the only other team that you might want to play at this stage would be Chennai, the way they've performed so well. But yeah, they've got to produce something better, don't they, Bangalore, in Bengaluru? They've got to be getting themselves off to better starts, I think, from a batting perspective. I think the bowlers have gone all right.
Yeah.
But they've given themselves nothing to defend, really, have they? I mean, having batted first all the time.
Yeah, it's a long batting lineup, but they'll really want to kind of check in today. But I just, what do you think is that the problem then? Scoring at home, it's just not giving them that many runs as they probably expected and stacked their team with batters?
Yeah, I think they've stacked that team for a certain kind of situation. Saying, look, we'll go and make 220 because Bangalore is like that.
Yeah.
Hyderabad was meant to be like that. Bangalore was meant to be like that.
Yeah.
Delhi was meant to be like that. None of these grounds are what they seem. You know, it's like people. It's like people. You look at them. I look at Gaurav Kapur and I think there's a serious scientist I'm going to meet there and someone else turns up.
You may want to get the prescription checked on those
in a manner of
glasses.
speaking-
If I'm looking like a scientist.
In a manner of speaking.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd go with
I think they
angelic.
stack their side with that kind of players. See, Liam Livingston, Tim David, all those kind of players go bang, bang, bang. Patidar started the season like that. Phil Salt. And it's not surfaces like that. So they made 165, they made 169. The 95 was an aberration because the pitch was, as Rahul Dravid said, the pitch was covered for a long time because it was raining. So maybe it's not a representative situation. So I'll be interested in seeing today whether RCB are going to play differently.
Yeah.
Or whether, with the sun, not that much rain around, whether they get a typical RCB.
A typical Chinnaswamy
But I
pitch.
think what they've got to do is they've got to try and put a positive spin on this. They can't afford to allow it to become an issue. I mean, 0 from 3, obviously it's starting to become an issue. And even if we have a look at the games that they've played, you know, if we have a look at them, I think we've got a graphic there. As you say, they're only posting 160s, and that's why they've lost so comfortably. And then the Punjab Cup, we won't read much into that.
Yeah.
But I think if you look in the history of RCB, I mean, they could get the Hall of Fame from batting perspective. I mean, if you go through the likes of your Gales, your De Villierses, your Dilshans, all those people, Kohli obviously, who've played for them. If you had to pick an all-time RPL 11, you'd probably get 6 from there.
Yeah,
so
true.
they've always had the ability to produce the batting. It's always been the bowling for me where they've come short. They haven't been able to provide someone like a Chahal was great. Why they ever sold him, I still can't work that out. But they've never been able to put the bowling together to be able to perform well on their home grounds. This time around, they haven't given them enough runs. So I've got no issue with the bowling. I've liked the way they've gone. I've liked the way they performed. But you've got to be giving these bowlers 200 if you're going to bat first to defend. And they haven't done that. So hopefully today we can see them post something if they do bat first, or the bowlers get their chance to state their claim and dictate terms.
They are batting
You can
first.
see why Polly is saying that. Because in Josh Hazlewood, he's got a bowler after his own heart.
Absolutely.
Comes in from a height, puts the ball on a length, doesn't bowl cute balls, fancy stuff. No, it's there. It's
Just
there.
simple. The only thing cute about Polly is his smile. It's a cute little smile. There's no cute little tricks when he was bowling.
But you've got to be very careful. I've worked with him a lot. Very careful. There'll be a very dry line coming just when you think, what a lovely guy we're working with. Really, one of the real nice guys.
So
of
what
the
are you
world
saying he's
circuit.
not?
Sometimes there's a naughty little line that comes at
He's
you.
already banned from one venue. I'll get him banned from another venue.
See, I told you.
It's come pretty early in the piece. I don't think we were expecting a bouncer to the head in the first
No, he
three
started
balls.
his career like that. Everyone knows Polly as being this beautiful line and length in out. He started his career hitting people on the head.
Yeah? But
He
with the
knocked-
ball or just generally walking around and just slapping them?
Lovely act. Boom. He was hitting people on the head.
Just club. Before you go out to bat, just going to hit you on the head once. All right, Bangalore is going to be batting first because Rajasthan won the toss. Remember, they don't have Sanju Samson, so Riyan Parag is captaining. Sanju Samson injured, went off the field in that previous game, and so he's not going to be available. We don't know for how many games, but Riyan Parag is the captain, has won the toss and put Bangalore into bat. So I guess today is a chance for their team, Polly, to do exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, they
Their
have to
batting team.
post something more substantial than the 160s. They've got to be looking up near the 200s. They've got the firepower. The guys have come into form, even down Tim David. I mean, he's really been good. They've been almost using him sparingly, but every time he's got a chance. So the batting ability is there. They have to post something substantial, and then it's a fair contest, and then I want to see what their bowling.
And is it fair to say, though, Harsha, that RCB, the batting is up against a bowling unit where basically just like one guy is in form? It's Jofra Archer who's
He's come back into
bowling.
form. Remember his first couple of games?
Correct.
4 over 76 and all that.
Yeah,
and we thought, who's this guy who's turned up?
Correct.
But he's sometimes bowling 3 in the power play. He's bowling proper quick stuff in the power play.
Yeah.
And we're actually seeing a trend in this year's tournament to just bowling proper stuff rather than looking at too many cute deliveries.
Yeah.
So him, I won't be surprised if they made some change. I've been hearing that they're likely to make some changes to their bowling side.
Yeah, they'll have to,
Whatever happens for Rajasthan Royals, because they are chasing, they're batting second, they cannot have 9 to score on the last over.
yeah. No 9 of 6.
No.
There's a lot of residual trauma.
No 9
if
of
you
6.
say 9 of 6 to a Rajasthan fan, they just start like vibrating and some of them just pass out. All right, we'll show you the teams now. Bring up any. We're ready to discuss both. Whichever you want. All right, so there's the change. We spoke about this last night and we were thinking that this might happen, and it
So
has.
Tikshana's gone, yeah.
Which is that Tikshana's out because, they need Fazal Haq Farooqi perhaps, and we called that change last evening. So you have Sandeep Sharma, Tushar Deshpande, Fazal Haq Farooqi, Jofra Archer. So they've gone with quicks, and then they have Manindu Hasaranga. They are bowling first. And again, they'll be hoping that Riyan Parag can give them a few overs because they've got, this looks like they'll get Vaibhav Suryavanshi in because he has been impressive in the one game that he played. It looks like he'll get him in.
He will, and he's the other opener in there.
So it has to be
he'll-
there.
He'll cover it.
Yeah, but again,
Unless there's some guy who after bowling 1 over walks off and they're a bowler shot.
yeah, if that happens, because again, that's the problem. They're actually bowling with 5 bowlers.
Unless, Nitish Rana bowls an over or Riyan
Or Riyan Parag, who again you can best qualify as part-time, right? Whereas all the other teams are going with 6 proper bowlers where you expect 4 from them. You don't go in saying, if I get 4 from him, it's a bonus. That's the difference, I guess, between a part-time bowler and a full-time proper bowler, right?
Always nice to have that luxury, isn't it, of someone else who can do a decent job, because invariably someone's off on the day,
Yeah.
But it's a case of point. You've seen it a few times, and some successful teams have done it well, where you say, hey, 5 of you, you've got the responsibility. Don't look over your shoulder. Don't hide at fine deck and say, well, don't look to me for another over here. You've got to bowl all 4.
Yeah.
It's your job.
And I'm laughing because I've been working a lot with Aaron Finch. And Finchy was captain when Chris Gale hit that 175.
Yeah, correct. Of course.
And he said, after a while, I'm looking around and none of the bowlers are looking back at me.
Yeah.
So he said to one of them, you? He said, no, you know, ball wet, what? He said, nobody was there. So finally, I was the only guy, I'm the ball in hand. I don't have anyone to throw it to. And he went for 29.
Wow. Everybody else thinks that ball is a grenade. Everyone except Bhuvi that day.
Yeah, he's bowled, yeah. Bhuvi
Everything
that day
except Bhuvneshwar.
4 overs 24 or something that
That's
day.
right. He went to run a ball when Chris Gale hit that 175, and he's going to be on show again today. We'll have a look at the Bangalore team. This is their batting 11. No change as well, so no surprise there.
Also, Romario is playing again, yeah.
Sorry?
Romario Shepherd is playing again, no Livingston.
After one game, they were not definitely going to make that change, and they will get a bowler in. So,
Yeah, yes, there, Josh.
either Suyash. Yeah, I guess they'll get Suyash.
Yeah, they like Suyash.
Yeah,
He's done well for them.
and he's done all right. So they'll get Suyash. So again, they get 6 bowlers there. We come back to the team, which means they get 6 proper bowlers because that's the advantage they get with Krunal Pandya when you look at that team. But let's talk about Bhuvi for a second because we are talking about that 175 game. Bhuvi was just, I mean, what they have done for Bangalore in the death overs and what Hazlewood and Bhuvi did the previous day. So we're going to have a fast bowling masterclass now with Professor Shaun Pollock.
Well, we've been crying out for years, haven't we, about this fact of going back to the Yorker. You know, it's like it was kind of a dying art. And maybe someone somewhere has convinced them that this season it's the way to go. And they've decided to employ that. So I think it's been good for them. I think the key to, there's 2 things you need to know from a Yorker perspective. Obviously, you need to have the confidence to hit that area and practice it as much as possible. The other key point from an analysis perspective is you've got to find people who don't play the pedal.
Correct.
If you come across someone like a De Villiers, then the Yorker might not be the right option because he's this, everything they can do. But if you do come across, so example, let me try and think of someone, Kieran Pollard. Kieran Pollard didn't play the lap. If you know he's on strike, you don't have to go away from a Yorker. Just hit that area. We saw the other night when Mitchell Starc was bowling, they weren't going to get down and paddle him. He knew that they weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
So you just continuously stay with the same plan. And the thing about it too is if you try and execute it as much as they did in those last 4 overs, is you get more consistent. Yeah. Whereas what happens is everyone goes, well, 1 Yorker, 1 this, 1 this, 1 this. But if you try and nail 11 in a row, you're probably going to get 5 or 6 there. And those stats were telling you that. So it's good to see that it's come back and that they're starting to show the control. You know, you talk about successful Yorkers. You say he's attempted 10 and he's got 5 right. The others aren't far off the mark. And they're still quite difficult. A really low full toss or something that's just short of a half volley can be difficult to put away.
Some of them this year are tailing in a little bit towards the end.
Yes. I think you're talking reverse swing here. So there is no doubt that there's certain people, for example, like Mitchell Starc at the back end, he's actually got that ability to get his wrist into the position. That doesn't really matter about the condition of the ball. And I saw one of the comments he made is he's not using any of the spit. There's a lot of talk now. Is the spit now causing the ball?
Because we have to tell people that saliva finally, after COVID, they had stopped saliva being put on the ball, and that is now allowed starting this tournament.
So, I mean, the key to reverse swing, I mean, it would be ideal if we had a ball. Oh, there you go. This one just appeared
magic!
You know, he's like a child. He just goes around with a ball in his
Okay, anyway, let's talk about this.
First, can we just explain to people, to some fans, because a lot of fans, we've been hearing this term reverse swing for ages. But you look at it, it's just swing. What is making it reverse swing?
Yeah, it's not going backwards. So if you're thinking about car forward and backwards, it's reverse. So what it does is it does opposite to what is traditional. So traditionally it goes this certain way. Reverse means it goes opposite to that. So what do you need on a ball to get it to reverse swing? Well, first of all, the smoother side that you can have is obviously ideal. So one of those sides needs to be smooth. How do you do it? So some people will do the sweat that they put on, and then others now this year have been able to use the spit where they can put it on. But the key to it is actually it just kind of softens the surface, and then you shine it up as hard as you get because you want to get it smooth. What are people saying about the substances? So is the sweat making the one side heavier, or is the spit making the one side heavier? It might be doing that fractionally. So that makes it a bit lopsided. So you can imagine if you've got something that's heavier, it's going to always feel over to one side. But the key is the dry side. The dry side needs to be scuffed up. And I don't know if we can see close there. Let me turn it.
He's not even bowling and he's already scuffed one side up.
No. Have a look here. You'll see a little mark on the ball there. There's a little scratch just in front there. Okay, that's the scratch. So what you want is that all the way around the ball and ideally as close to the seam as possible. Not really in the middle of the ball here. You want it as close to the seam because as the ball goes down, the air comes next to the seam, and that's what creates the movement. So if you've got a bit of resistance, that's what gets the ball to swing, and that's where you get your reverse swing. But there are talk about Stark says, no, I don't use spit, and he's using just the sweat. Obviously, he's not bowling both ends, so we don't know what's going on the other end or what the captain or what the fielders are doing. But the moral of the story is if you get one side nice and smooth and the other one nice and rough, it's got the potential. The reason why we don't see it in T20 cricket is because 20 overs isn't really enough to get the ball to scuff up as much as you want. And then sometimes, just when you've got it perfect, someone deposits it out the ground and that ball's lost and a new ball comes and you've got to start all over again.
Just a quick question. You said you scuff up one side. How much of that can you do which is legal and what is illegal?
So often you'll see the guys throw the ball in on the bounce, and then as it hits on the side of the surfaces, it scuffs up. As the tournament goes on further and further, there's more surfaces that are being used. They become rougher. So when guys hit the ball into those surfaces, or when the ball comes thrown back, or as you bowl, like for example, if we were trying to get it to scuff up, I would try and bowl an over in a long game. I would try and bowl an over or two where I don't hold it bolt upright. I want it to come out like that, so it lands on that side and makes little marks, and then I can start to use it to reverse. So
that's the good boy answer.
Yeah.
No, but
anything that you get, if you
those
do
are
get
the legal
something,
ways.
Yes.
And then there have been players who, in the past, have been accused of using foreign substances to scruff up the ball as well.
Sometimes they're yellow in colour.
We've heard that as well.
Yeah, well, we won't go far away from Sandpaper Gate. Obviously, that was referred to over the years, and obviously bottle tops way back in the day.
In the 90s?
90s.
The 90s?
Yeah.
So anything to get it rough, I think that was the key. And obviously teams had different ways to try and do it. But the legal way to do it is obviously to try and throw it in and obviously try and land it off the
So in the old days, 10 soft drink bottles used to come out. Only 8 of them went back with caps.
And they just keep those 2 bottle caps in there because you can scruff it up with the bottle cap. There are kids out there who drink only out of cans who like, bottle? What bottle? What you talking about? You just have to visually show it to you. Since we do have Shaun Pollock here, and he's had a few test wickets in his career, a few. I do definitely want to ask you, we were discussing this so much about how Josh Hazlewood has been getting a lot of success because, earlier he wasn't. And then he came back to what his strength was, which is line and length. And maybe he was doing a lot of cutesy stuff before and change of pace and stuff. And as soon as he's come back to his strength, which is kind of test length almost, right? He's just been really good. So is there then a case to be made that in T20 cricket, you can still use good old test cricket principles when you're bowling, at least up front?
100%. I think a lot of the talk in the years has been don't be predictable. You've got to keep them guessing. So if you're Chris Gale, for example, and your ball's landing and you're whacking it out the ground, what must you do now? You mustn't keep whacking it out the ground, get around and reverse sweep it or paddle it or something. If it's your strength, stick to your strength. And his strength is hitting the areas as hard as possible and committing to each delivery. I think mentally they sometimes aren't committed because they think, oh, should I be trying this? Should I be trying that? And I think he's shown it. And also on this surface in particular, after all these years, the kind of consolidation of what the best approach is at the Chinnaswamy is back of a length with tall bowlers, hitting back of a length and trying to get as much steep bounce as you possibly can. And we've got 2 wonderful exponents today. You've got Hazlewood one, you've got Jofra Archer the other. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how those guys get on, because if you try and float it up there at this one, you just get smacked straight back.
And a lot of the
head.
ball tracking data this year is saying you bowl short, you're travelling, you bowl full, you're travelling. So either you bowl Yorker, in which case you're okay, or just a hard length. Meaning hit the length, but hit it hard. If you don't hit it hard and it skids through, then they're meeting it on the rise, it's going out again. But the length ball over the last 4 or 5 years has made a stunning comeback. Your dear friend,
Ashish Nehra,
whom you only mention 18 times per program. He keeps saying, length.
It's the word he uses the most.
Ball, the length ball that comes up on you hard is still doing well. If you're tall like Hazlewood is, it's a great benefit.
Yeah, he is very tall. But yeah, Ashish Nehra, I have to add, is the English word he uses the most. There are some Hindi and Punjabi words that he uses, which we cannot talk about in this program. But the English word is length. So good old, it's just good old principles, and I'm liking that. I think you can say that with bowling. but with batting perhaps not that much, because you had a guy in RCB who used the traditional style of batting more. Devdutt Padikkal, he was a little more classical. And then they told him, hang on a little, now you can't play classical music here. We need a little bit of rock, a little bit of punk rock. He's worked with Dinesh Karthik, with Andy Flower, and he's come out with a bit of a punk rock strike rate and lifestyle. There you go. He's talking about how the previous few years were not ideal, and he's worked with DK and Andy, and it's not just technically, they have made changes, but also tactically. So the bowling and the batting have to be kind of approached slightly differently. Is this what shows you?
It is. Also, for me, the batting is trying to eliminate as much of the risk as possible.
Yeah.
So there's certain shots. So if you show your stumps, get out the way and try and paddle it, that's probably a 90% risk. If you stand in your position, hold your shape like you are as an orthodox batter like Padikkal is, and look to go straight down the ground, the risk of that's probably 10, 20%. And that's what he's probably mentioned there when he's saying tactically. Maybe his areas where he was looking to pick up boundaries were too much of an element of a risk. So if he made a mistake, he was back in the dressing room and unable to contribute. Maybe now what he's trying to do is try and be aggressive, but eliminate as much risk as possible. So play the shots he's comfortable and he's grown up playing, and then you'll be more consistent.
What is acceptable risk? You're playing test match cricket, a 20% risk you don't want to take. But in T20, if it's a 50-50 shot, you're probably still playing it. As you come to the tail end, if it's a 60-70 risk, you're still playing it, especially if you've got wickets in hand. So the definition of what is a risky shot also changes. I think that is what has changed a little bit for Padikkal, in that he's got new shots in his armory now, which is making the bowlers sort of bowl differently at him. When the batter's predictable, they're bowling as per what the ball tracking data is telling you.
Yeah, I mean, he hit one over the keeper's head, and I was like, wait a second, who's this guy?
But did he hit
It's him.
Did he hit a top edge or did he hit that one?
No, I think he hit one shot just like this. He hit that little the uppercut.
The uppercut.
The uppercut over the keeper.
So sometimes when people think, I've got to pick up my strike rate, they kind of go away from using finesse. And finesse is just, I mean, so if someone bowls and you just run it down past the keeper for 4, that's a boundary compared to just a ramp. And there's different ways. If you make sure there's no dot balls, now all of a sudden your strike rate's going up without you having to do too much risque and too much different.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I don't know why somehow it's just become that thing that, it's T20 cricket, so my strike rate has to go up. I got to bludgeon everyone to death. There is also the old ninja technique, death by 1,000 cuts. You can do that as well. And we're seeing enough batters.
One of those batting today, you see Virat Kohli's wagon wheel.
Yeah.
And you won't see too much behind.
True.
But he's a special player. I mean, he's a special player, runs his twos hard. He maxes the power play as much as he can. Not everyone can be Virat Kohli, but he shows you don't have to play those shots.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to lose what he has.
True.
I mean, 20 days after the IPL finishes, he's playing a test match again. And there you can't be all this cute thing. So he's got very little time. So he says, I don't want to become a different player from the one I am. But you'll find that the 15-ball batters, Romario Shep. Actually, Romario Shep was the wrong example. He just hits it out of the ground.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Tim
matter.
David, maybe.
Some of the guys who come at the bottom, who are playing these 15-ball, the 10, 15-ball batters, you'll find they'll try and play the field a little bit more.
Yeah. The thing is that they've got a long batting lineup, Bangalore does. Rajasthan's still playing with a slightly old school kind of 6 batters, 5 bowlers kind of format, which, I don't know, I feel like that's, a relic of the past perhaps, and, captains are liking the kind of options in the middle. I know they rely on the impact sub to give them one extra guy, but do you think that model still works?
Yeah, I think some of the thinking has gone away from the bits and pieces all-rounder. In the old days...
he said it. Bits and pieces.
You said bits and pieces.
Am I not allowed to? Do I get banned for that?
No, you're going to get a letter.
No, but I was saying in the old days, you kind of, let's balance it with guys who can give us a little bit with the bat and give us a little bit with the ball. Whereas maybe now these days the thinking's going back to, let's actually back guys who are good. Back the 6 batters to get the score and back the 5 bowlers to bowl their 4 overs. So you understand different teams at different stages, who they go with, particularly if you haven't got that genuine all-rounder who kind of just does both.
And there's very few. It's a precious commodity, and you kind of have to feel that the impact sub is taking the premium away from that.
They've taken it away from the domestic tournaments.
Yeah.
It's only there in the IPL, and they're going to review it at the end of this cycle.
Yeah, take it away.
It's nowhere else.
Yeah.
What it has done is, there's players like Shivam Dubey,
Not bowling.
Venkatesh Iyer,
Nitish Kumar Reddy.
Nitish Reddy, but he's, I think, just coming out of a side strain.
Yeah.
Amandeep Singh.
Correct.
They're
bowling.
all bowlers who could give you 2-3 overs consistently, but who are in the side primarily as batters. So those players are no longer, their second skills no longer needed.
Yeah.
So now, if you're looking at IPL scores to pick an Indian T20 team, these people who are seen to have two skills and therefore a little more valuable are now competing against the other people who've got a single skill and who will go boom, 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 and suddenly you don't have the numbers there.
Yeah.
So that's
You also don't know what it goes on behind the scenes there. I remember how many hours we used to sit discussing team combinations because you had to get the balance right.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
worry.
You don't
No,
have
you
to- the selection meeting's a lot shorter.
Yeah, correct. Because cricket used to be about selecting the best 11. Now it's 12.
Yeah.
Suddenly the numbers
And you've
changed.
got the variety on which kind of 12 to use. Like
Exactly.
yesterday, for example,
Yeah.
the 12th was supposed to be the bowler, but they lost wickets so quickly, so they sent out an additional batter,
Yep.
and they went from 35 for 5 to 140.
Yep.
So you have that
Can happen.
flexibility as well.
Absolutely. We're talking numbers, must talk about the 14-year-old. The 14-year-old who, obviously, as I've been saying, the umpires check his bat and they check a note from his parents that he's allowed to be out that late, and only then is he allowed to bat. And he batted in that previous game. Did you get a chance to have a look
Yeah, I
at it?
just saw the highlights. I was actually travelling at the time. I mean, I couldn't believe the first ball went out the ground. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about confidence as a 14-year-old. It's like hectic. So he's got the opportunity. I think it might be different today. As you come up against someone like a Josh Hazlewood, that extra speed, that extra bounce on these conditions.
Yeah.
We have to see how he adjusts. But as far as the first outing, he hit the ground running and you can't have
Then
any
the young
qualms.
kid from Chennai, a Bombay boy was playing for Chennai, came up, Ayush Matre,
Yeah.
but he was a little slow to get out the mark. I think he hit his second ball.
Yeah.
A little slow to get out
It was
the
just
mark.
ages. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you're so slow. What are you doing? Like, why are you taking so much time to hit a boundary? But yeah, he's 14 years old and he's playing, and like, it's a tough name though, Polly. Vaibhav Suryavanshi. So to make it easier for you, you don't have to refer to him as Suryavanshi. You can just refer to him as
No, go on.
That's the Suryavanshi theme track. Do you not know the Suryavanshi theme track?
I only know that other movie that used to come on as soon as the IPL was over. And
Suryavansham.
And that played on forever.
Oh, no. I have to tell you, as soon as the IPL got over, my job in the Sony office was to polish that CD and put that in so that it would play 5 times a day. That's what my job was.
Suryavansham.
That was Suryavansham.
Yeah.
This is Suryavanshi.
There's no Raghuvansham.
We have to educate Harsha Bhogle in pop culture. All he does all day is just cricket, chemical engineering, That's all.
even that was 40 years ago.
Stop studying. He, by the way, gave us a chemical formula the other day, which was wrong. So 17 people have collapsed because they're like, well, we mixed it wrong.
The man sitting there.
Yeah, Joy Bhattacharya did that?
Because of you. You said H2SO4 and it was HCl.
Why would you trust me on
Move on.
anything factual? Especially science, especially life-threatening stuff. All right, but when we're talking about a youngster, there was a teenager who captured our imaginations way back in 1989. Of course, was not born then, but yeah, he captured everyone's imagination in 1989. And he was a teenager then, facing Pakistan fast bowlers and, getting hit on his noggin with some aggression that Shaun Pollock has shown as well. And then he just stayed around for the next 24 years and just it's one of the biggest gifts to Indian cricket fans and one of India's biggest gifts to the world, not just the world of cricket. Of course, I'm talking about the master himself, whose birthday it is today. So, big round of applause to Sachin. Happy birthday to him.
Yes, he's gone past a major landmark.
Yes.
Since he started playing cricket now, for the first time, he's older. Oh, well, since he got about 20, he's got more years behind him than hundreds. Test hundreds. He'll never have more years behind him than
Total
overall
hundreds.
unless he lives to be 101.
I don't-
Wish him long life.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to live till 101. That's a lot. But yeah, that's cool.
Just gone past 51 Test hundreds. He's 52 now. He's got more years than Test hundreds behind him.
52 today. Wow. That's nice. I like that little factoid. Not as much as I like the joy factor factoid because those are just the best. Those are just amazing. Can you read this out? Because honestly, I just
Is
get
it very long again?
Just get disillusioned.
You do?
Yeah, I get disillusioned. I'll order dinner in the meanwhile.
Okay, which cricketer playing in this league made his international debut against Qatar and has played his last international match against Pakistan? Which cricketer playing in this league? I am going some player maybe from Afghanistan.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Afghanistan playing Qatar seems...
Nabi.
You know,
I
we're
don't
not there.
know, actually.
Nabi's playing in the PSL this year.
Yeah, Nabi's not.
Now, there could be some other. Okay, let's think about it. Played against Qatar. But what level do Qatar... You got it.
I think so. We're looking at the wrong country.
That's what I thought too. I think we're looking at the wrong country.
There's another... So, because I'm trying to think of if it's not Afghanistan, it's not one of the main guys, right?
Yeah.
One of the main countries, because Afghanistan is test playing nation now. It's
Yes.
not one of the test playing nations. Then you got to think of the teeny tiny countries, associate nations. It's coming out of an associate nation. I think I have it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Rest is up to you to guess. But your guessing will happen there. The guessing will happen here right now between... Well, it's interesting, right? Because when you see the chart, Polly, I just want to tell you, I'm third. I slipped yesterday from 1 to 3. I'm third.
Can you tell me once the chart is gone, I can open my eyes?
Somebody is third from the bottom.
And somebody's on the bottom.
Yeah, there you are.
I was dreading the day Polly comes in because if he gets some points, he might go up.
You get one right today, you go straight to the top of the table.
Yes.
You can go to
I don't even know how many points it is for getting it right.
He'll get 50%.
Yeah.
He'll get 50% because it's his first game. So if he gets 1 out of 2, he's playing 2 today.
Yeah.
If he gets 1 out of 2, it's 50%. Easy math. If he gets both right, he's at 100%.
Okay, well, let's go and start with Harsha because
No, mine doesn't count.
bottom of the table first.
Mine doesn't count. See, I told you. Beneath this veneer of this very religious, good boy kind of
Listen,
person,
I was
there is
not last
an
year.
incredibly evil soul.
So I thought he was going to say
I didn't get one last year, not one.
Actually, yeah, you did.
Yes! Yes!
So that's why I need all the help I
Entire
can
season.
get.
Okay.
I've got 8.33.
That's right. You do. I'll let the two of you go first because
Okay, Bangalore
age
today.
before beauty. So
Bangalore today.
he just registered it. All right, I got it. 194.
Huh.
It's a high score.
I'm going to go a little bit low. I'm going to go 187.
187.
Today, I'm going by what Rahul Dravid is saying. He's saying it's looking like a good pitch, powerful batting, not that great. I'm
It's in
going
the
203.
You know what? I think you're right. I think it's going to be in the 200s today. It's going to be in the 200s.
I just jinxed the 200 plus score.
200s also means you only have till 208. It's a 5-run margin. It could be 220, 225.
Okay.
It could be anything.
Okay.
Well, we don't know. Let's see what happens with the track record of these two. I don't know, but I'm glad I'm away from them. I'm glad because this could be contagious. So I'm a little away from them. Let's see what Bangalore does. They are batting first. We will come and review that at the end of the 10-over mark with Cricbuzz Combox. So do join us then. A big thank you to Mr. Harsha Bhogle and Mr. Shaun Pollock. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you. I'm Gaurav Kapur. You are watching Voltas Presents Cricbuzz Live. We will see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad Express, Suryavanshi Station, Netaji Bhavan. Cricbuzz.